biggest threat to Black people, activists, and anyone whose politics lean left is Trump's immigration promises. He would have us believe that his targets are South Americans, but
in Trump's head, you can't be a person of color and an American.
You're right, Trevor Noah. Trump doesn't think any person of color belongs in this country. And also, an analysis of MAGA talking points reveals a scary picture of Trump weaponizing immigration to round up people of color, lock them in detention centers, and deport them in service to his vision of America. Let's jump into how I think Trump will do this. Last November, the New York Times published an article on Trump's plans to detain millions of unauthorized immigrants. The key here is how I see Trump laying the groundwork to change the meaning of unauthorized immigrants to mean anyone he associates with the left or anti-imperialism. The first hint about this end run around your citizenship is Trump's promise to use the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. We'll take a look at this act in a moment, but first I have to acknowledge that it's illegal to use the Alien Enemies Act to deport U.S. citizens. Given the legality, you may feel like it's impossible for a law-abiding citizen to be deported. But Roe v. Wade warns us that it doesn't have to be legal. It only has to be interpreted as legal. And Trump's Supreme Court is ultimately responsible for that interpretation.
And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I did something that nobody thought was possible.
It's not a secret. Trump prides himself on manipulating interpretations of the law to serve his agenda. So let's take a look at this Alien Enemies Act of 1798 and talk about how I believe Trump will misuse it. Essentially, this act says that whenever there's a predatory incursion perpetuated or threatened against the U.S. by any foreign nation or government, all subjects, that is, all people the president determines serve the hostile foreign power, can be arrested and detained without trial as alien enemies. The key concept I want you to keep in mind as you watch this next clip is all subjects of a foreign power involved in a predatory incursion.
It's rarely even mentioned that China has many thousands of spies working in the United States in business, finance, academia, tech. Instead of hunting down Republicans, a reformed FBI and Justice Department will be hunting down Chinese spies.
Excuse me, Mr. Trump. Email Dweaver here with the I Wasn't Born Yesterday news. Who are these agents of the hostile Chinese government that you'll use the Alien Enemies Act to detain in concentration camps? Could you tell us?
Black Lives Matter is a Marxist organization.
Removing all Marxist diversity, equity, and inclusion bureaucrats. Third, we will go after the radical Marxist prosecutors who are abolishing cash bail, refusing to charge crimes.
Let me describe the world Trump will create if he's elected. If you're fighting for a black or brown liberation, you're a Chinese spy. If you advocate for diversity and inclusion, you're a Chinese spy. If you believe in bail reform, restorative justice, or police accountability, you're a Chinese spy. If you're protesting Israel, you may not be a Chinese spy, but you're definitely an agent of Hamas. So if we don't get our shit together now, Trump will stop bragging about overturning Roe v. Wade, because he'll be bragging about how he cleansed the country of you and me.
Our country apart, and they've wanted it back in the States, and I did something that nobody thought was possible.